sale which we have designed in order to support the schools that we have been working on in Albania, which have been destroyed from the earthquake. So all the tool bags that are over there, you can check them out and potentially buy them, and all those money will go to the schools to build the infrastructure and also include more women in tech. So now I want to invite the moderator of the session, Shishek, and also the panelists to start with the third session on AI.
Do you hear me? Not yet? Yes, perfect. Okay, so welcome to the session on AI and policy making. We're going to have, I hope, a very interesting conversation here on the stage, but I also encourage you to think about the questions or comments on the topic, because my feeling is that we are kind of having a discussion on artificial intelligence, algorithms, automated decision making, very similar to what we had at some point on blockchain. But as the blockchain is still kind of a future in terms of good use cases, what we're going to discuss is actually that automated decision making and algorithms are already in place, and for sure that will be introduced and deployed in the government citizen relations. So it's something that maybe we're not aware of, but they are already in place and have some impact. But let me introduce your and mine guest, Marta Halicka, sociologist connected with the Girls Code Fund. Please join us on the stage. Daniel Kerekes, political consultant at Political Consulting and co-author of the Slovakian chapter of the report as we made, the Financial Foundation. Last but not least, Bartosz Pasha, tech analyst from Jagiellonian Club in Poland. That's great. So before I will get them to speak, and we will discuss on this very emerging topic in terms of the impact that technology, the actual impact that technology has on citizen-state relations and on citizens, on individuals, and maybe on all societies. I want to make a very brief introduction based on the report that we did, as we were a leading force in this report as a Financial Foundation, but we had great partners from Georgia, from Slovakia, from Czech Republic, from Serbia, and from Hungary. And what we wanted to check is basically, are there already some automated decision-making processes for schools in place? Because we talk a lot about artificial intelligence, and there are really, I think, very important discussions on this in European Commission, in Council of Europe, in US, of course. But what we were thinking that this is still implementation of artificial intelligence in this citizen-state relations, or in the tools that are supporting making a decision in public administration. It's still the more futuristic idea, or a bit of sci-fi, but we were aware that there are already big simpler algorithms being put into place by governments worldwide. So we just wanted to check how does it look in Central Eastern Europe. Can I have that next slide, please? Yes, so this is quite important for us as also a civic tech organization. So we also do technology, but we try to have a lot of reflections about technology. So the approach that we took, and the reason, and the motivation, and the inspiration we had while elaborating the report was to concentrate on this phenomenon, as this is only yet another way how governments work, how governments are having an impact on citizens, and And at the end of the day, and this is the mission of our foundation, and I think that most of us gathered in this room, we want to make governments more transparent, accountable. And it's especially important when they are using the computers, tools, machines, that are maybe less accountable or transparent. So this is the main aim for us, is to discuss the topic of automated decision making or algorithms in the context of transparency, accountability, and the overall impact they have on citizen-state relations. So it's still, we have to remember, we're not talking about machines, we're not talking about Terminator, Just Dress, whatever. We're talking about the tools that are being implemented by governments now. Can I ask for the next slide? So, to be on the same page, there are a lot of definitions concerning the usage of artificial intelligence or algorithms or automated decision making. We actually found out the new term, which is algorithm. So those algorithms that are being implemented by governments. I will show you examples in a while, so also you'll be sure of what we're talking about. And these are the automated or semi-automated processes used by government authorities in decision making that have a direct impact on people. So it's not necessarily artificial intelligence in the technological sense. It can be something much less complicated. So we try to describe the process basically that is being used by these tools. Can I ask for the next slide so you will have more knowledge what we're thinking? Sometimes it's very indifferent, so like speed control is also an algorithm that connects the speed of your car with the plate, with the person who was behind the wheel or the driver. Allocation of judges and public officials, this is the case in Serbia, for example, but in most of the countries that we did the research, and I think I heard from someone that it's also the case in Kosovo, that you have this system of allocation judges to the specific court cases. And this is also done by algorithms, actually. It's not artificial intelligence yet, but there's an algorithm behind it. Choosing batches for conducting controls and inspections. So if any agency is looking for controlling how the public money are being spent, for example, that's also an algorithm which brings some indicators to get a group of companies or NGOs or citizens to get in-depth control. Distributing social benefits, this is a very important part actually, because this has a direct, not only has a direct influence, but also there is a big risk of discrimination in this regard. So for example, because the algorithm does not work properly, or the people that created it had a hidden agenda, the people could be discriminated in this regard. Recruitment to schools and kindergartens, this is kind of the thing that is very popular, but also we have found out some cases where everything went wrong with this. And this is also an example of the problem that we see in this regard, that public officials who are using the tools, they're not specialists in technology, that's one point, but the other one, they don't have enough knowledge gathered from the companies that created the algorithm on the potential risks and how you should deal when something gets wrong. And of course, for us as citizens, we don't really care about the company as such. If we have a problem with recruitment to kindergarten, for example, we will contact public officials, and very often they're like defenseless because they have really nothing to say about it. Detecting fraud, this is also a very popular way of using algorithms through scanning bank accounts, for example, and looking for the suspicious operations. There are pre-selections of contractors in public procurement. So these are examples where already algorithms and automated decision making is being deployed. Can I ask for the next slide, please? Yes. This is also like coming back to this example with kindergarten. These are some of the responses we got during the research when we asked the public offices. is, do you use algorithms? Do you use automated decision-making processes? And a lot of answers were like, oh, well, we're using computers like with Microsoft Word. There might be some algorithms behind it. This is not necessarily what we wanted. On the other hand, we got a response which actually wasn't directly, wasn't meant to be directly delivered to us. Just we were at some point in CC of the internal mail after we sent a Freedom of Information request. I don't know if you've seen it well. Where did they find it? So it was a question whether you're using algorithms. Oh, maybe they're working in a specific ministry on a judge and red solution. So either the public officials are not prepared and don't have a knowledge on the usage of algorithms in their public offices, and they have this vision that, oh, maybe someday in the future, but the future is here. Can I have the next slide? This is some of the questions we have asked when we were doing the research. So this is also to show you what was our approach. So the question was, are algorithms being used basically in public offices? And what we found out, there's no knowledge about it. There's no central knowledge in any of the countries on collecting the information on the registry that actually algorithms are in place. So no wonder that the public officials themselves are not really aware that this kind of tools supporting their job and have an impact on citizens. How does algorithm work? I mean, we were just very interested when we got the examples of algorithms in public administration. How do they work, actually? And this is a great problem from this perspective of freedom of information, because in any of the cases, or in none of the cases, we haven't had a response considering like delivering us the source code of the algorithms. It's still being described as a technical information, not a public information that should be delivered. This is one of the main points. Basically, if we're using a technology that affects people, it should be transparent, and you cannot say it's only technical thing when on this algorithm, the life of your kids being recruited to the kindergarten depends, or the judge is being selected to your own case. It's far much more just the technical information. We asked about regulations. There's no regulations on algorithms, which is still a problem, and it's being heavily discussed, especially in the European Commission. The new head of the Commission in her political manifesto for the first 100 days, she said they will regulate the usage of algorithms and AI. Not sure it's possible. It's not an easy issue because, as you can see, for example, there's a lot of different cases, and you cannot easily regulate them. Who has created the algorithm? This is also quite important because in most of the cases, these are companies that are delivering the algorithms to the government, and the governments very often they don't have the knowledge and how to check the accuracy of the algorithm. So just give you a simple example, when there is a procurement for the road construction, usually there's someone independent and knowledgeable who can check whether the road was built in a good manner. But with such technologies, we are dependent on what the company is saying, whether it's working or not. And of course, it's not in the interest of the company saying, like, yeah, actually, like, we did it for you, we want money from you, but there are like certain risks behind, right? So also this is about building the competencies of public bodies. The access to the algorithms is also connected with the transparency and who controls the algorithms at the very end. Because even if we have, if there is a final decision made or confirmed by the public official, still they are believing what the machine is telling them. So if there is a system that really you can independently check if the machine is working okay, and if it is fair, it's not discriminated, for example, anyone. Can I have the next slide? And I was telling about it, so the main finding is basically we don't have any policy regulated models, any regulation on the topic. There's lack of knowledge and competences in public offices, and let me see and there are no legal provisions also when it comes to the potential remedies if something is going on. So who is responsible? Is it a public office or is it a company? We don't know that really, and this is a new ground that we should discuss about. And the next slide. And these are some of our recommendations, which I think we had a small workshop yesterday, and we find that one of the most important for everyone was creating a transparent environment or environment of transparency around automated decision making. And lastly, this is where you can find the report, and this is some kind of an introduction to this discussion, so to be on the one page what we're talking about and how these challenges will be increased by the actual usage of artificial intelligence, which is more complicated in the sense. So our approach is like we should discuss it now with much simpler algorithms, at least to test the regulations, to test the environment before the true machine learning, the true artificial intelligence will be deployed by government. And now, it's my great pleasure, I think I will start with Marta, to also discuss why is it so important? I mean, what's the actual or potential impact on society and individuals? Why we decided that this is the issue that we should be worried about?
So, hello, my name is Marta. I'm a sociologist. I used to work in the foundation, Girls Code Fund Foundation, so I was a coordinator of programming courses. And actually, why I'm here and what I wanted to tell you. I wanted to tell you this fact that social life is changing, and it will change definitely. Like in this social studies area, we talk about this kind of cyber revolution, because the problem and as well disadvantage of technologies is that on one hand it is a thing that shapes society, and at the same time this is a tool that is actually capable to shape by people. So in this way we have this possibility to make an influence on many spheres of social life, like politics and so on, but at the same time there are many actually threats from this new thing, which we actually for now we are not so sure of, and we can't say what the future will show us. Actually in sociology as a science, there's this concept of global village. I don't know if you know this term, but it was based in actually 1990s, and the point was that the world is getting smaller and smaller, so people have this more and more connection between. So actually, the technology is the thing that we will have all to think about, and that is why I think that despite many different situations, like political situations, many countries like ours, I think that it's really important to see each other in this international themes and discuss this topic. I was thinking about opportunities and threats from the sociological point of view. And I think that the main point is that technology is connected with, we call it, after computer generation. So this is, for me, it is the best thing that technology is connected with young people. And this is a really big opportunity for developing countries to actually use this situation when there are many possibilities to learn a lot of things. And at the same time, technology allows us to use it to have this impact and influence on politicians. So by social media, for example. But at the same time, there are a few threats that we have to face in the future. And this is as well social media, because I am sure you know terms like fake news or the fake news, fake information. So at the same time, it is really important to learn all of those tools to use algorithms just to be prepared to things like this. And at the same time, and that's what I wanted to finish for now, is that media changes democracy. So from the social point of view, it is really important to remember that we can use it, but we have to know how it works to be able to use it.
Thank you so much. Daniel, from your perspective, how does it go?
Thank you very much for the vote. As we discussed yesterday on the workshop, later or sooner, the technology, or we will not avoid technology, and technology will be part of our life, even in the decision making in the public level. We can see it, for example, right now in private sector, even in Central Europe. For example, when we look at the Facebook, if you post a photo with a nipple, Facebook automatically